Welcome, guys. We are here and we wanted to, do our thing where we give you guys our week in review. We know you guys are used to seeing us on our live show every Sunday, but we've been missing it a couple weeks because we've been having some awesome guests on, which is a great problem to have.
Yep.
So, me, Sergio, and Steve wanted to just give you guys a 4-1 on the last 2 weeks in comics, which include the week of May 12th and May 19th. So there's a lot to cover here. What's up, Sergio and Steve?
What's up, man? We're happy to bring you a little bit of House of Nerd bonus content, man. Like Lauren said, outside of our regular live stream. We're just gonna go over some of the books we've picked up over the last couple of weeks, and hopefully you guys enjoy this material we've got here for you.
Yeah, let us know in the comments and stuff. I know we're not live, but feel free. We want to read your comments and let us know what you guys thought of the books we picked out this week, what we liked, what you guys liked. If we missed anything, let us know. We want to make sure this is as engaging as it can be with you guys still. Steve, you doing all right? You've been quiet.
I'm doing okay. I'm just waiting to get into these books that I've got.
Well, let's do it. Steve, you want to kick it off? What you got these last 2 weeks?
Last 2 weeks, a lot has been read. I've discussed some of it, Blue and Green, the stuff that we did for Ram V, all that research there, Graffiti's Wall. I read all of that. Read a bunch of stuff in preparation for the Ram V. Read a bunch of stuff in preparation for the interview that we did with Julio Anta. So there's been a lot of reading in my end of things. In terms of the weeks and new releases that came out, I've read within the last 2 weeks, X-Core. Finally, this book is out. It's taken a long time for it to come out. If you like Angel, he's in this. It's basically like a business side of things. So it's like how does Krakoa be able to get all the pharmaceuticals and pills out that they need to? What's the business side of things? That's X-Corp. And then that week there was also Amazing Spider-Man: King's Ransom, giant size. This was the end of the King's Ransom arc. And then this week there was Amazing Spider-Man number 66. He's back to the red and blue suit. Gone is the Twitch streaming gray and yellow.
So what happened with that? I don't read Spider-Man, so maybe it's a spoiler, but
they got rid of that shitty suit.
He is no longer in the streaming suit. He's
nice.
Oh, that was such a short term. What was even the point?
Yeah, they wanted to showcase a story about a superhero that's constantly live streaming and what could happen.
Yeah. Was it a good story at least, or was it eh?
It was okay. It was mediocre. It wasn't my favorite thing of Nick Spencer's Spider-Man, but it wasn't awful. I'll say that. And then this week, good old Nightwing, Tom Taylor.
Oh, it's my boy.
Issue 3 of Tom Taylor's run. I'm this close to catching up to where Tom Taylor's run starts, so I've got a little bit of a gap. I think I've read back catalog of Nightwing. I'm up to the point where I just finished volume 8 or 9, the Gray Sun, whatever it is. One more volume to read of Nightwing's back catalog until I'm up to date with Tom Taylor's stuff.
Okay.
Again,
nice.
This was a good read, Lauren. I think you could probably say some things about that.
Yeah, it's a good read. I enjoy it. I call Tom Taylor's run a comfort read.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are like, wow, it's the best thing I've ever read. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever read, but it's what Tom Taylor does best, which is taking care of characters. He takes care of Dick Grayson so well. He's grounding him for us. It's a nice comfort read. I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
See, this is why I love you guys and I love the show, because you guys keep it 100 always. I've heard pretty much universally it's the best Nightwing ever.
It's
and
the best Nightwing
it's cool because it gets me hyped to want to check out the title.
Yeah.
But it's nice to kind of hear a more I guess you could say grounded opinion.
Yeah.
You guys are enjoying it. You're digging it. He does the character justice.
Absolutely.
And that's what you get Tom Taylor for. I'm a huge fan of Tom Taylor's, but I'm also one of those people that knows what he's best at, right? I'm not going to say, well, Tom Taylor can write anything perfectly all the time. And every writer's flawed, even the ones we love the most. But yeah, I'm so glad DC asked him, because he said this. DC asked him to do Nightwing. They pitched it to him. He said yes. I'm very glad he did, because Dick Grayson needed love after the last couple runs.
After
years.
the Rick Grayson debacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys would say he's staying true to the character of Dick Grayson?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, he brings the character back to fore. Like, you're past the amnesia stuff, you're past all of that. It's like a nice fresh start for anyone who wants to read Nightwing.
Okay.
Tom Taylor's is like, it's like a new #1 essentially. Like, it's a very but I've been kind of mulling over what would be my top pick within the last 2 weeks. I don't want to say something like Blue and Green because I've already mentioned how much I love that book. Obviously, it would be, but in terms of just like new releases that I picked up, Way of X #2, another X book, of course. It is Nightwing led. I think Lauren, you're probably going to have a lot of thoughts about this as well.
I have many thoughts. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about that.
It was a hard pick for me to choose the top pick for me, but I think in terms of like wow moments, it was comfortable, but it also, I didn't expect something from that book. Certain things in the book happened and certain characters were introduced, and I didn't expect it to go that way. And I'm kind of glad when a comic book does that. So for that reason, it is my top pick. Sergio.
What a great choice. What a great choice.
What did I have? Guys, in all honesty, because of our creator guest the last couple of weeks, my new releases, my reading for new books has been like almost zero. Much like Steve, I've read a whole bunch of Ram V, Blue and Green, These Savage Shores, Layla Starr, which have all been top tier, fantastic. Ram V's quickly become one of my absolute favorite writers. Love what he's doing. And then this week, we had Julio Anta. So I spent the week catching up on his mini comics, on rereading Home, which you guys know we love here. So in terms of like new readings, not much that I've gotten done, but what I can do is I can show you some of the books that I plan on reading, some of my new pickups. This one here, what I'm going to show you, I haven't seen one single person post about this either on Twitter or Instagram. So I'm curious to look into this. It's called Out of Body Experience. This is from Antarctic Press, who don't seem to like get a lot of love online. So they put out the Hot Valley Days and Cocaine Nights mini. I think it was a 3-issue mini a couple months back, which is underrated, fantastic. So I saw it was from Antarctic Press. I had to pick this up. Out of Body Experience. It looks pretty cool, man. You've got some. I'll give you a shot of the interior art. I don't know much about it other than what I read in the synopsis, but it looks very, very nice. I mean, here, let me give you a shot of that first page there. So for me, I'm excited to dig into that, and I'll definitely give you opinions on it on the next episode. Some of my other new pickups here. You guys know I'm all in on Layla Starr right now. I had to pick up this beautiful foil cover for #2 that came out this past Wednesday.
I saw that in the store, and my mom actually is a huge fan of that line, and so she saw that cover, and that's when she got. And I was like, I know Sergio's getting that one too.
Well,
that foil, he can't resist it.
I got the foil for issue. I'm going to collect the foil for the whole series. I guess they've got one for each issue, so that's beautiful. And this one here, Layla Starr #2 again. Guys, when I tell you I've had my eyes on this when they released the artwork months back, I was lucky enough to get my hands on the 1 in 25 Jeff DeCal variant cover. But not only that, so it wasn't announced, but they released a secret variant, a 1 per store.
What?
So I got the Virgin. Okay. Of this beautiful Jeff DeCal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a secret variant. That's awesome.
So hyped to get this. I didn't realize that they were even releasing a secret variant up until like the night before. So I had already made my plans. I hit up a bunch. I was lucky enough to get 2 copies. So like Jeff DeCal, he's one of my absolute favorite artists. He's done a bunch of cool stuff. So very lucky to have that added to my personal collection. I haven't actually read Layla Starr number 2 yet, but from what I've read, is just even better than the first. And if you guys recall from our interview, issue 2 and then issue 3 takes the story to places where we don't maybe necessarily expect after issue 1, right? So looking forward to checking that out. I've got a whole lot of reading to do over the rest of this long weekend and next week. But yeah.
With Layla Starr, I remember when we had Rim V on, he was talking about how people that got advanced copies of it were like, oh yeah, issue 1 was so fun, and then issue 2 like ripped my soul apart. Like, and when I read issue 2 by the ending, that's kind of how I felt. Like, not in the way I necessarily thought I would, because I guess I was kind of expecting it, so the expectation was different. But I still read, and I was just like, I understand why their soul was ripped apart, especially if they weren't expecting this. Like,
okay,
Ram V has such a way of flipping it on the head a bit and taking a different perspective, and kind of goes into the whole when we talked with him about like themes of death in his stories and stuff, and the approach he takes. The first issue is more humorous about, the second issue is not as humorous, so it's a solid read. So yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it.
So not as not as much levity to break up the whole theme of death in issue number 2, like there was
not as much, but it's not that it's needed. Ram V, there's a way he does it. I'll put it that way. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a way, because there's I can't say that word. There's lightness to it, but not in the way you expect, like in the first issue. So not in the same like dry, sarcastic humor, but there's other lightness to it in different ways. So I think you'll really like it, and I'll think you'll like the approach Ram V takes. You just won't expect it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Steve, have you had the chance to check out issue 2?
No, I honestly, I didn't even realize it was out this week. To be honest.
Okay.
Steve, we talked about this.
Sorry, I didn't even know.
I gotta get a copy to you, buddy. This one is not available to you. But
and Steve doesn't deserve it. Okay.
If it's like the regular A or B cover, I'll be more than happy to hook you up. But you're killing me here, man. We just had him.
Sorry, I know. I forgot. I didn't.
You gotta grab it. Okay, it's all good.
Thank God you don't run our social media.
Yeah. So and I picked up a whole like whack of other stuff. I mean, I think each of the past 2 weeks, I've grabbed about 2 dozen books.
Yeah.
Each week. So I mean, I'm trying to think what else.
You got a lot to get through. Is pretty much what you're saying. You got a lot, so
to get through. But I mean, it's all good stuff, man. Trying to think what in particular am I looking forward to reading from. I'll get back to you guys on that one.
Yeah, man. Hold on to it, because we'll definitely more time to talk about that. So you didn't really have a top pick this week, other than like you're really interested to read Layla Starr, and you had the covers you really got to pick up, right?
Yeah. Blue and green would be your top pick of the last 2 weeks.
I was just about to say that. in all seriousness, Blue and Green, I'll take every opportunity to say what a fantastic book that is, and a fully immersive reading experience. I would put it, in all honesty, in probably like my top 3 or 5 reads of all time.
Wow. Yeah. Of all time, really?
Yeah, all time.
I love it.
Yeah. And then if you guys if you guys are ever reading it, I definitely recommend putting on a little bit of jazz music in the background, maybe some Miles Davis or something, and it just elevates the whole story to another level. Definitely that easily my top book.
Blue and Green, okay. And that's a great choice. I'm so glad you read it, because I was like, if he reads anything before Ram V, it's gotta be this. So
yeah, and you know what? Also, too, while we're on the topic of Ram V, these Savage Shores was great. So I literally knew nothing about it other than I think Lauren, you mentioned to me there were vampires in it. So I was expecting like pretty much a straight up vampire tale, but it is not.
It's a completely different take.
Yeah, it's a different twist. You've got other, I guess, monsters in it, more from like the East Indian culture, right? Um, so I love the twist on vampires and how they bring some other different what's the word, like mystical elements into it.
Yeah.
So that's another one to check out, and great art.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good choices.
Lauren, what was your last 2 weeks like?
Yeah. So, oh my God, so much stuff. Particularly this last week. The week before, there was like DC's Festival of Heroes, which was a nice, fun read. Some important stories in that. Spider-Man, Spider Shadow was incredible that week. Utterly incredible. I loved that. Definitely pick that up. I don't have it in my hand here. And Time Before Time was my other favorite. That was probably my top pick between that and Spider-Man, Spider Shadow. But I want to focus more on. Yeah, it was that good.
I forgot about that.
You forgot Time. That was our cover drop.
Yeah,
I know. That was actually a really good book too.
it was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
That was a ton of fun. And I mean, can we spoil it now? It's been a week. Can I spoil that? Because
I'm done
did you guys catch on the twist that got me, that I kept hyping up, that one part in the book that really sold it for me?
You mean about his buddy who's trapped in the future?
No, and then he aged over time and came back, and oh my God. And the moment where you finally see it connect, and he's staying there in front of him, and he's like, oh my God, this is what happened because of my actions. Like, this happened to you. That blew me away. Like, I've never seen a consequence of time travel like that, where your actions so vehemently like change someone else's life and shit. Like, oh my God, I was like, that. Holy shit. Like that sold it for me, that moment. And how that empathetic approach, it was fantastic. Like, and then the action was good. The art was great. I mean, it could easily be a TV show. Easily. And if it's not a TV show, as I said in my review for it, if it's not a TV show because you cowards won't read it, I'm going to be really mad. Everybody read it. Please.
I would say hold on to your issue number ones, because I definitely see Time Before Time being optioned either for a film or some kind of a show. I
would love to see it as a show. And it's only issue 1. Like, wow.
For me, that was the more, I guess, shocking twist other than the one at the end there, where you have that character, the FBI agent, in and to, I guess, steal the time pod, right?
Yeah.
It was a cool twist, but for me, that the moment was definitely his buddy stuck in the future, comes back. He's lived his whole life. He's going through. I was in jail for 7 years. Then I was in
did the math on it, right?
And
when he started saying things, I started doing the math on it, and I was like,
same. My thing is, I'm like,
I mean, that hurt to read. I mean,
oh my God, he's been away for like, he's lived like 30, 40 years, man, and insane.
I mean, that's such a direct impact that your time travel can have on someone else. Like, a lot of times you see the whole like, oh, like you can't talk to yourself if you go back in past. Like, we see it all the time, but like, oh my gosh, this is so catastrophic. Like,
see, so the thing
can't
is,
outrun time, and I think is the bigger thing, right? Like, his time got used up. You can't outrun.
Right, and then he came back. He couldn't come back just as his young self that got trapped there. He actually had to age and go through the process to get there. How horrible is that for him? Like,
it was cool. And a lot of times with time travel stories, you get the trope of what did you change, or that's the consequence to time travel. Like, I went back in time or in the future, and then I changed the timeline or something like that. But I don't remember an instance where that was the kind of twisted time travel. Like, come back and then you kind of like you've aged and that's the consequence. And now what are we going to do to deal with that? Right. So I'm curious to see where Declan Shelby and who's the other Who are the other
I can't
creators?
remember the name. I don't have the cover
Yeah.
with me either to check. I feel
I
bad.
want to say Rory McConville. Excuse
Okay.
me. Yeah, where they take the story. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good.
it was. Yeah, that was really good.
It was our copper drop. So if you ever want to hear us talk about Time Before Time more, you could always check out the episode.
Yeah, which episode is that? 5? Yeah, that was episode 5
Yeah,
with the Ram B discussion. Yeah, so
for sure.
afterwards we talked about it. It was, it was, that one blew me away. I really enjoyed the heck out of that. So,
Yep.
so
What
that
else
and Simon's Fire Shadow.
What else have you read?
So this week I want to focus on those because, man, again, I had a stack this week, like probably this thick, and usually I have a bigger stack, but it was ridiculous. And it was also hard. Yeah, it was hard to pick top picks. Like, hold on, I have the rest of it right here, actually.
Yeah.
So not including the 3 I have here. This was my stack. Like,
nice.
And other people, I'm sure, have huger stacks. Like I know people spend like over $100 plus on comics a week, but Daredevil, man, still so good. I just look at her. She's so good. Let me tell you, Miss Electra's Daredevil is the coolest thing to happen, not only because she's Daredevil, but because there's a particular page in this issue, which I don't want to show because I want to spoil it, because it just came out, but there's a particular page where she does something that, and I've seen it on Twitter, and I agree with the post, Batman could never do. Like a moment where she is cooler than Batman in that moment. And she is Elektra. That's the thing. She's not trying to be Matt as Daredevil. She is Daredevil and she is still Elektra. And she has no problem with putting both those worlds together other than, trying to still abide by Matt's rule of not killing and stuff. And she's like, why do I have to do this? But it's such a good issue. And there's a really heartbreaking moment in it that's so important. You gotta be reading Daredevil. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing. Sergio, at you, read this. If you read Marvel, read this, please.
I was just gonna ask you, Lauren, how does this part of the story compare to the pre-Elektra Daredevil? Because at least for me, being not reading, being a kind of an outsider in that whole universe. I'm definitely not hearing as much about the run right now than maybe at the beginning or the middle of Zdarsky's run. Other than the initial hype and buzz when Elektra did become Daredevil, it seems to have died down a bit.
But in the beginning, there was
30 issues in already, or
to be fair, I don't. So a lot of times the hype dying can be reflective of the quality of issues sometimes, but kind of like we talked about when we had Julio on the show with Home, just because the hype has died down doesn't mean the quality's gone down. And in Daredevil, the sales are still up. I don't know about Homes, but in terms of Daredevil, sales are still good in it as far as I know. Zdarsky is still being hailed as doing this amazing Daredevil run. Nobody's saying it's dipped in quality. I think people are just settled in terms of, wow, this is working well. Elektra's Daredevil was working. Murdoch, Matt still being in jail. I mean, you still have Matt in this issue with his whole, Matt has another opportunity basically, and he may or may not take it. And then someone at the end is like, dude, you should have done this. What the heck? And so I think next issue, we're going to see more of Matt growing. They've also shown a cover for upcoming Daredevil issue that looks amazing with Matt on the cover, all firehead, little devil looking. It's fantastic. So I'm excited to see where this goes. So no, this definitely hasn't dipped in quality. I think people have just adjusted to Elektra being Daredevil. The people that hate it can kick bricks. They're wrong. They know it. The people that are enjoying it and know it's good, we're just having a great time. So
I'm surprised it's not your top book then, because you always talk highly of the Daredevil that you've been reading.
That's because I had so many good books this week, Steve. That was my third pick. My second pick is Radiant Black #4. And this series was hard for me because the first issue I really liked. The second one was okay, but wasn't as good to me. And then the third, the third one I was honestly about to drop this, if I'm very honest. Not because it was bad, but just because it kind of lost me a bit. Oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't. This shit hits the fan. If you thought you knew this story at all, if you thought you knew what was happening, you don't. And the best part for me is that, stories that, have big twists or surprises that you think you could have never seen before. When I first read it, I was like, oh my God, what? They did that? And then I thought about it, and it makes sense to me. from a writing point of view, why they're doing this. And what they did is going to expand this universe. So instead of this being focused on one or two people, the two characters or whatever, this is going to get huge. This is going to grow. And that's what's exciting for me, is that they're going to build a universe out of this. Like, I can tell. And I can't say enough good things about this issue. Like, I really enjoyed it. I never could have predicted the ending, and that's a good thing in this case, because I can still trace it back in my head and still say it works. It didn't come out of nowhere, actually. It's phenomenal. It's, you know, if you don't know anything about Radiant Black, it's a great superhero story. In terms of this dude, he's a writer. He ends up getting these powers in the suit, and he's with his bro, and they, you know, he's kind of learned with his bro how to do it, and it goes along to his character development as a writer, how that kind of connects to his super abilities. But like I said, this issue flips it on its head, like, completely.
Is it like Nova?
No, not yet. Okay. It could be. I like I said, it's expanding the universe. Issues 1 through 3, the universe was this big. It was focusing on one character and his bro, and another character or two hidden in there. And then now with this issue, one, the characters it focused on, I can't say anymore. I'm going to spoil it, so I'm going to shut up about that. But it's going to expand the universe. Like, this made me think of, it made me think of expanding, like, it made me think of, like, what was like starting the Green Lantern Corps, for example. What must have been like to start with one faction, then get another, then this. This reminded me of that. It also reminded me of, a lot of people probably haven't read this, but there's another indie line called The Killock. So it reminded me of that in terms of creating a universe, and one that I'm hooked on. And that no matter who the character is, you're going to keep reading it because of what the universe is and because of how the characters can be written. Right.
I haven't read it, but I'm almost getting kind of like a Invincible world building vibe.
Possibly, because I haven't read Invincible, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I haven't read it, so I can't say, but yeah, quite possibly Invincible vibes, just from what I've gathered of everybody talking about Invincible. Except it did in 4 issues and not 4 volumes.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, that ending shook me really good. I know once I saw some of my peeps on Twitter reading it, they were like, "What the hell am I supposed to do after reading that?" I'm like, "I don't know, because I don't know what to do." Like, but it's good. Like,
yeah,
they completely set another arc.
You're definitely gonna continue picking it up then.
After that, yeah. So it was worth hanging on for.
As good as it is, as good as Daredevil is, both of those, you said, 3-2. It's not your top pick. So what is so amazing?
It had to be this. Yeah. And I am so fortunate that it was this. Here's the thing. This line had me nervous with the first issue, not because it was bad outright, but because at first I wasn't sure it was going to go the way I was hoping it would go, in terms of Kurt's character development, in terms of exploring what Krakoa really is and unraveling the secrets of Krakoa. Like, this line is really focusing on that. So you don't have to be a Nightcrawler stan to read this. Like, you really don't. But what I will say is that issue 2 took it in the direction I was hoping it would. It's phenomenal for Kurt's character. It had probably one of my all-time favorite Kurt moments of all time, again, in this issue. It takes the character development to a whole new level for him, which I was finally hoping they would do, because I've had unpopular criticism that Nightcrawler's credited as the religious one all the time. That's kind of all he is, and he's just super perfect, and he can't do any, and this really explores how Kurt as a character isn't just like that. His views on religion, spirituality, and morals and ethics aren't just, oh, well, this is the right way to do it and this is the wrong way. He's so good with the gray areas, and this really honed in on that, and in a way that made sense for his character, and it made me so happy. And I really loved seeing, I guess the spoilers out because the first issue came out, Legion in here, David, Charles Xavier's kid. I love seeing their interactions together. They were great. I love seeing where they're going to go with him unraveling the secrets of Krakoa and why they picked Kurt's character specifically to do that. This is like Nightcrawler porn for me. Like, I don't know what else to say. And it's incredibly well written. And again, even if you're not a fan of Nightcrawler, it'll make you appreciate him more, which I think people need, in terms of he's not just the cute fuzzy elf, and he's not just a religious one, and he's not just a sword wielding guy with a tail. he's so much more than that, and it makes me very happy. And I'm excited to see what this means for Krakoa as well, because at the ending there's a certain something or someone, and I'm like, oh well, I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but that's pretty big. So if you're an X-Men fan and you're not reading Way of X, you need to change that stat. It's definitely a must read of all the lines.
Cool.
Yeah.
Steve, you share that enthusiasm for the book, because from what I recall off of the first issue, you guys had a similar opinion in it. It was good, but there was definitely potential there. But
Yeah.
like almost like I got like a lukewarm vibe.
Yeah, it needed to find its footing.
Mhm.
I felt like the first issue was more so, it was like a solo Nightcrawler book, which is fine, but it's like, what's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of picking up this book? And what they've added in this issue in terms of even adding Legion, it changes everything in terms of Krakoa. It changes. I'm like Lauren, I don't want to spoil anything of this book, but it's interesting because now this is a book that could potentially affect the Krakoa era of X-Men. Like
it will. I have no doubt it will. That's the thing. That's how it's being written. It's going to. And
So
how Legion
ramifications out of this book.
I think so.
Yes. Yes, it's going to be important. So if people were just like, oh, Way of X, it's just Nightcrawler, whatever. Like, yeah, maybe it's Nightcrawler porn for me, but I can also tell you this is so much more than that. It's going to have ramifications for the entire X-Men universe. It's saying a lot of things about it. And like Steve was saying, like, I think honestly, that's a criticism I have of, because Nightcrawler's had multiple solo runs. He's had multiple solo runs. And one of the criticisms I have of all those is that what was the purpose of them? And for this, honestly, even though this isn't a Nightcrawler title or Nightcrawler solo, this is his best solo, technically, kind of book in terms of he's leading it and such, because he actually has a purpose here. It's not just people will go, okay, we want to do Nightcrawler. What are we going to do with him? There's a purpose, and they realized, hey, Nightcrawler fits this purpose. He is the character that we need to use for this, and it's doing him justice. It's making his character shine. And for the benefit of expanding the X-Men universe. So it's not just because, oh, let's make Nightcrawler glorious, even though I love it. It's because it makes sense logically, and he was the right choice. They could have picked another character, but wouldn't have worked as well. Yeah,
like there are certain X-Men books that are currently out that I'm waiting for them to come to Marvel Unlimited before I keep reading them. I'd pick up issue number 1 of, or at least I'll try to, of all of the X titles, and some hit me, some don't, and so the ones that don't, I read later, right? I'll binge read them. In terms of some books, it feels like some of them won't have huge ramifications on the X titles in the universe at large. I'm not reading Cable, but like Cable doesn't really seem like it'll have huge ramifications. Neither does Wolverine. To be fair, the one I read, like the main one I read, Marauders, doesn't really have huge ramifications for the universe yet, and that could change. But as of right now, it hasn't had the biggest. But Way of X, you have to read Way of X because it's going to completely impact the universe, especially with the Hellfire Gala and stuff. Like, and there's the whole bigger grand stuff that started in House of X and Powers of 10, is that there's the huge secret that Magneto's kept, that Xavier's kept, of Moira being alive in the Black, the Black Void essentially, and they've made the rule that there are no precogs allowed. There are no precogs allowed in Krakoa. There's no precognition mutants allowed to be resurrected, and they put a kibosh on that and not told anybody. Nobody knows why they keep putting them down on the list and keep. They keep saying that.
I feel like that's going to be dealt with in this series, or at least brought up, and that's going to be a huge part of it. Which, I know Sergio, you don't know a lot about the new X-Men thing, but she, the woman that they're keeping secret, she's incredibly important because she's the whole reason Krakoa is a thing and it's happened. Basically, that's how important she is. So
as a reader of like. I guess I can compare it with like the DC side, right?
Yeah.
It for me, it's always fun if you've got like a title, something like this Nightcrawler book that has ramifications and in the greater like Marvel universe or DC universe, right?
Yeah.
Something like you can have a Blue Beetle book who's not one of your top tier characters, and a lot of times these characters, these B characters or C characters, they'll get books every once in a while, but it's like you said earlier, what's the purpose of the book?
Right. You're just writing a story and then it's done. Like
Put out a book just to get that character's name out, but what does it serve to the greater universe, right? So the fact that it sounds like, there'll be implications coming out of this, it makes it more fun for me anyways. I like the connectivity, right?
Absolutely.
So
so
cool, man. Yeah, I'm happy for you guys. You guys are enjoying
all that said, it's definitely a top pick for me. And I mean, to be fair, I still have House of X and Powers of X. I finally bought the hardcover in my stack here of a million trades to read. So to be fair, I'm reading all this X-Men stuff. I still haven't read House of X and Powers of 10, by the way.
So good.
I know, that's why it's sitting here. My boyfriend can't stop getting on me about it. So I can actually understand. But here's the thing. I still haven't read that, but I can still understand what's happening in this, and I can still understand its importance. So once I finally read House of X Powers of 10, it's gonna be monumental for me in terms of I'm gonna draw even more connections. So yeah, Waves of X definitely my top pick. Awesome. It was hard because I had so many good books this week, but I had to go with it, and I'm so glad I was able to, because I'm not just picking it because, oh look, it was my Nightcrawler book, but it was actually that good. It was that worth it.
Cool. Nice.
So so we got Steve's top pick, and what was your top pick again? I don't know why, I just forgot, but I did. I got 2 cop on Wave X. Oh, yours was Wave X too. Okay. I was just making sure because I got caught up and I was like, did I forget? And then Sergio, yours is basically Blue and Green, which wholeheartedly, yes, read Blue and Green, y'all. Please read it. It's so good. And my pick is Way of X as well. So lots of Way of X love, lots of Ram V love. That's it, guys. Steve, Sergio, any last thoughts on the last 2 weeks in comics?
Go ahead, Steve. Yeah, go for it.
It's been a ride. There's been a lot of books to read, and
that's the thing. There's so many titles. It's a good problem to have, man. Like there's 3 of us, so hopefully for you guys watching, we offer you some variety. Some big 2. Indie stuff, and get to as much kind of different style of books that we can get to for you guys. And if you're enjoying what we're doing here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on the video, hit the bell notification, man. And we can keep bringing you hopefully more dope content, man. Right?
Yes, check us out. We have our Twitter at House of Nerd Show. Steve's got his Twitter. Steve, where can we find you and your TO comic book club that you like to host?
You can find me on Twitter at Stovepost, and you can find the TO Comic Book Club at TO Comic Book Club. There you'll find the Discord link. Come join the Discord.
Yes, they get some really great people on there. In the past, they had Chip Zdarsky and such on to talk with them. So it's really cool, and you can do it from anywhere because they're online. So you just join in whenever you like. It's awesome. Sergio, where can they find you?
Yeah, you find folks can find me at Insert Name Comics on Instagram. It's Insert Name INC on Twitter. And thanks for hanging out with us. And we're going to see you guys again soon. Lauren, where can everybody go?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at friendlymBHDBI, and I'm on Instagram at friendly neighborhood bye. And again, check us out on Twitter and all that cool stuff. Comment, let us know what you thought of our picks for the last 2 weeks. I know we didn't get into everything. That would take like 3 hours. But let us know what you thought. Let us know what you think we missed. Like if there's something that you're like, oh guys, why didn't you get this? Like tell us in the comments. We'll definitely be checking out the comments and seeing what you guys think. And don't forget, this next episode on Sunday when we're live, we'll have Rodney Barnes on as all that cool stuff. And and after that, we'll resume our some weekend reviews on live shows. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time.
All right.